What's going on, everybody? Justin Baldoni is apologizing to Blake Lively. We have new leaked audio. We have a trial date set for Baldoni versus Lively. We have a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills mid-season trailer that has dropped, and Selena Gomez is under fire. Uh-oh. When you're ready, come and get it. Na 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 na. Let's get it. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. Good morning, YouTube land. Good morning, Apple. Good morning, Spotify. Good morning, San Francisco. What's going on, guys? How's it going? What's it going on? I hope you guys are having a great start to your week. I have been up and camera ready since 5 a.m. because I made an appearance on Court TV this morning. We were talking about the ASAP Rocky case, because Erica Jane's son, Tommy Rizzo, was the first witness called in this trial. He was an expert witness, I guess, because he was the first person called onto the scene from LAPD. He's a sergeant for the Los Angeles Police Department. So everybody I know in Bravo land, all the Housewives fans were like, what? Having Erica Jane's son in an ASAP Rocky case was not on my bingo card for 2025, but that just kind of seems like the theme of the year, the theme of the month. Not things people cannot predict, right? But yeah, so I got to go live on Court TV this morning, opening statements with Julie Grant, which I enjoyed. Love Julie. Shout out to Julie. Oh, someone watched me on Court TV this morning. Aunt Nene says, watched you on Court TV. You did absolutely great and looked so handsome. Thank you. Oh, thanks. Thanks so much. I love it. And then also, guys, I am on today's new episode of Heather McDonald Juicy Scoop. So be sure to tune into Juicy Scoop. I mean, if you weren't able to catch Court TV this morning, then stay tuned. Be sure to watch Opening Statements with Julie Grant. I will hopefully be making more appearances on there. I've done it twice before in regard to the Girardi trial. But now that I'm covering Blake and Baldoni and Menendez brothers and all these other cases, I'm hoping that they will have me on a lot more. So yeah, definitely tune into Juicy Scoop. Definitely comment on Instagram. Go comment on the Juicy Scoop YouTube channel and say, oh my God, Zack Pack here. I love it. Have Zack on more often. I love doing Juicy Scoop. So let Heather know that you're enjoying the episode if you're enjoying the episode. We have a lot to get into. Danny says Juicy Scoop was so good. Sydney says Juicy Scoop was amazing. Love it. You guys are all. Mallory says I was listening to Juicy Scoop before this. It's a great episode. So good. I watched Juicy Scoop. Watched you on Juicy Scoop this morning. Hope to see you there more. Well, you got to tell Heather, have me on more. Have me on more. Let's get it. Paula says you have the best Blake and Baldoni coverage. Thank you. Better than Candace Owens. I was like 4 weeks ahead of her before she decided to jump on it. Listen, like I said, there are things that Candace Owens says that I agree with and things that she says that I don't see eye to eye with her on. But I appreciate that she is definitely coming in hot with all the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively stuff. But the trolls online that are like, you're copying your content from Candace Owens. I'm like, listen, loser. I said that on my podcast 2 weeks ago. Keep up. We have a lot that we'll get into. Love Pink says, just finished Juicy Scoop 2 seconds ago. You're always so great at storytelling. Thank you. I had a blast. We taped it yesterday. It went by so fast and I was like running around, and then I went and I got a massage and I'm feeling so much better today. I had so many just like knots and kinks in my quads and in my glutes because I run a lot and I'm slightly flat footed. So yeah, I have wrecked my body. Wrecked it, double decked it on a record butt naked. Pep's ass butt gets respected. Zack, Candace mentioned the dog might be Blake, and another YouTuber mentioned the books were the golden guns. Yeah, they're different. I mean, no, everybody's had different theories as to like what people have said that the dog represents Blake, that the dog represents the film, and Ryan Reynolds is taking the film from Baldoni. That's why Deadpool takes the dog from Nice Pool. There have been different theories. I feel like now everybody's trying to dissect it and brush through it with a fine tooth comb. So I don't know. We don't know at the end of the day, and we won't know until the discovery process comes through and we see, you know, Baldoni if he's able to subpoena Marvel and Disney and get all of the raw files. But then from what we learned with TJ Miller, the comedian that spoke out working with Ryan Reynolds on the first two Deadpool films, TJ Miller says that Ryan Reynolds riffs a lot. It's a lot of ad lib, it's a lot of improv. So I would imagine there probably aren't many things in like the script that are direct references to Justin Baldoni, but if they're able to subpoena the live footage, or sorry, the raw footage that's unedited, then I would hope that they have things on camera that, you know, may indicate Ryan Reynolds retaking some sort of lines or making a couple of other additional jabs that maybe didn't make the final cut. Regardless, we'll see how it transpires. But I mean, yeah, everybody's having different theories right now, and that's all we can do. It's all a lot of speculation and conjecture. And we won't know until if and when this decides to move forward, which at this point we now have a trial date set for March 2026, which is over a year from now, which is what I said from the beginning. Like, if this does go to trial, it's not going to be for a long time. Even Rachel Levis's lawsuit against Ariana Madix and Tom Sandoval, I almost said Tom Sandoval, her lawsuit against Tom and Ariana isn't going to trial until November of this year. And that started how long ago? She filed it, what, last March? So we're already approaching the 1 year mark from filing. And now we have the trial date, which isn't happening until November. So I would imagine that this um, is probably something that's going to trial and that we will see play out. I think Tom and Ariana are going to fight Rachel Leviss in court over the naughty FaceTime video that Tom Sandoval recorded that Ariana obtained access to and then you know, sent to Rachel herself. And so we'll see, is that, you know, revenge corn on the cob? That's the YouTube friendly term, corn on the cob. Is this revenge corn on the cob? You know, is sharing it from Tom's phone to Ariana's phone and then Ariana texting it to Rachel, is that going to be considered distribution? Because it technically wasn't shared with any other third party. And Ariana sent it to Rachel, but there is transfer from one phone to the next phone. So they're going to fight for distribution. And that's part of what they're going to prove in their revenge corn case. We'll see. But we have a trial date set. It is for May 2026. So we have over a year before we'll even see this go to trial. If it does go to trial, we see Baldoni releasing more and more evidence and information against Blake Lively. We now have a new, the apology was before all of the lawsuits are. Yes, that's correct. We'll get into that. Give me, we're 8 minutes into the show, Melanie. Let me run my show and let me break this down. I love when people come into the live chat and they like try to like report the news. I'm like, would you let me get there? I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But yes, guys, be sure to check out Julie Grant, Court TV, opening segments with Julie Grant, opening statements, sorry, with Julie Grant. And then we also have Juicy Scoop with Heather McDonald that's out and available now. Thank you guys for listening, supporting. Let Heather know you're enjoying the show. Let me do a quick Apple Podcast shout out, and then we'll dive on in. Mallory says, I only said that because your title sounds misleading. Justin Baldoni apologizes to Blake Lively. Well, we'll play the clip. We'll roll the tape in just a sec. This one comes from Extra Sweet 14. Really entertaining. Glad I stumbled across this podcast. Feels like I'm hanging out with a friend. We have all of the same interests, pop culture, and Bravo. Can't wait to watch and listen live when we get in on the conversation. Thank you. We also have Joey Cat 3224 who says, still cool because of you. Hi, Zack. I listen to your podcast frequently and appreciate your authenticity. Also, your logical thought processes when discussing issues of conflict, such as Blake and Baldoni case. You are my source for current events. Your podcast makes me feel like I'm still in the loop, and I love it because I am 64. Lastly, I worked with victims of domestic violence for 2 years. They usually hide their situation from friends and family and will shut down and shut out people if they advise them to leave. Sadly, I believe Allie will return to James Kennedy, evidenced by her unwillingness to press charges. No surprise. Hopefully, she is in counseling and gains some insight about herself. These relationships are very complicated. I agree. Angie EN says, I'm hooked. I laugh out loud at some of your comments. Keep doing your thing and ignoring the negative press. Thank you. And then last one from Natalie FL. Nuanced and balanced pop culture tea. I absolutely love listening to Zach Peters' approach to pop culture gossip and news. So well informed and thorough while sharing his own take on the latest squeeze. Thank you guys. Please keep leaving reviews on Apple Podcasts. Please keep subscribing and leaving ratings on Apple and Spotify. I appreciate them. It looks like based off of your comments and the feedback that came in from yesterday's episode, because I did post a poll and I was like, let's see where everybody stands on what other topics we want to cover. And so it looks like so I put Harry and Meghan, the expose, JFK, RFK, MLK files that have been declassified, Marilyn Manson allegations, and then the Obama divorce and Jennifer Aniston rumors. And so far, number one, people are interested. 1,400 people voted for Meghan and Harry. So more of a deep dive into Meghan and Harry, which we did do when we used to do book club, and we read Tom Bower's Revenge. So we did that previous deep dive into Meghan and Harry, but now apparently there's like a divorce book that she was shopping around. So we'll dive more into Meghan and Harry. Second was the JFK, RFK, MLK files, and then the Obama divorce rumors with Jennifer Aniston. So we'll cover all three of those, since it doesn't seem like people are really interested in the Manson stuff. So we may skip over Marilyn Manson. Really wanting to hear from Blake about the voice message. I know. So this voice message came in. It was leaked to, let's get into that. So the Daily Mail published another voice memo from Justin Baldoni. Now, people are referring to it as a voicemail. And so it apparently came in, around 2, 3 in the morning, when I think it was like 2:30-ish in the morning, when Justin Baldoni sent this voice note to Blake Lively. And so people are like, well, why is he calling her? Why is he recording it? Why is all this stuff? And so it's not a voice mail. It is a voice note. Okay. Voice note. So like when you're texting somebody and then you send them voice notes, I send voice notes to people all the time. So this voice note, it makes sense that he saved it, because your voice notes are often saved in your text messages. You have the option to have them be discarded, or you can save them. And so they were likely all sitting in he seems like a big voice note person. I'm a big voice note person. This is like a 6-minute, almost 7-minute long voice note. It's so long. I'll play most of it for you. We don't need to play the entire clip, but I will play most of it for you because it's wild. Yeah, it's an audio message, Nina. Thank you. That's the alternative term for voice note, audio message. So it comes late at night, but people don't realize that this actually came on the heels of Blake Lively. She wrote that long message to Justin Baldoni where she basically, says that she didn't feel like he properly acknowledged her rewrites to the script enough, and she felt kind of hurt by it. And so he released a lot of these text messages. This is in reference to the text that she sent him about being Khaleesi and Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift being her dragons. So she writes him this very long message, basically saying, I had rewrites to this rooftop scene that you and I did, and you didn't properly acknowledge it. And then this is his response. So let me actually read her message to him. It's very long. It's very, very long. Let me see if I can I might not be able to screen share because I have this. Let me see if I can screen share it, because if I can, I will read it for you directly. Let's see. Nope, that didn't work. Because I have it as a PDF and it won't let me. Hold on, Baldoni. All right, I might not be able to pull it up here for you guys, but I will at least read the text message for you directly. Very long, from Blake Lively at 1:49 a.m. on April 15th. And this is where he talks about, she said, this is about also working on the scene, really talented, felt that way without, yes, this is about Ryan and Blake. She says, I'm deeply inspired by the film that we're going to make outside of the success of this book. We have such an opportunity to not only surprise people who love the book, but reach an even bigger audience and make an undeniably dynamic and commercial film. The moment that excited me most, the day the other day was when you said that you're not funny. You are going to kill that rooftop scene. Because she says, you, period, are, period, going, period, to, period, kill, period, that, period, rooftop, period, scene, period. You know it, I'm sure, even though it was said in a playful self-deprecation that we all participated in, it made me think of the process as a whole. Please know that I trust you on the day you've got me, and I hope that you trust that I've got you if you want to. We're in this together, and if we are two of the most determined people I know, we have a very high bar set for ourselves to collaborate with. That type of partner is a gift that either of us will squander because we both care too much about the results and the experience. I have no motives except for you to win. As a director, as an actor, as a studio, as a writer, if you win, I win. If you win, our movie wins. We are aligned. I will bring everything I have to this. As for Taylor and Ryan, I'm the luckiest motherfucker on the planet to have them as my dance moms level stage moms. They are embarrassingly effusive. That said, they're also my most trusted partners and the people I go to first with anything creative that I touch. And I'm the person that they each go to first. The reciprocal creativity and support has been my life's greatest and most fulfilling gift. When the loved one, when they loved and signed off on the pages, I felt good to send them to you. They asked what you thought specifically after. So she's saying that she sent the new pages to Justin Baldoni, and that both Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift asked specifically what Justin's thoughts were. She said, they checked in so many times. I told them that you laughed a bunch and said that it was probably a blend, but you appreciate my passion so much, which of course didn't feel great for me or them. She says that Ryan and Blake and Taylor didn't feel great about his feedback either. To have my passion be praised and to have my passion be praised instead of any specific contribution, or even just that you didn't like the pages, which was fine also. So I think they wanted you and me to see how they felt about the work because they've been by my side for far too many experiences where I've been overlooked. I spoke to you about this when we first met. They watched me handwrite scripts because the director is too afraid to send the FDX file, yet he scans and has someone hand in all 120 pages of my pencil rewrites. They've watched me be hired as a writer and paid a significant fee for it, but on the condition that I never ask for credit, which I could give a shit about. It's more of the principle of the dynamics at play. They watched the other side of it too, where I'm told at signing on that I wanted to be a true collaborator, but once we get to work, I'm just really a yes man, an audience and actor, a yes man, audience and actor. Both Ryan and Taylor have established themselves as absolute titans and writers and storytellers outside of their primary gig, just singing and just acting, or Taylor just directing, or it's blacked out, so I'm assuming that says Taylor, or blank just directing. I'm so lucky to have them as creative barometers, but also to have them as the people who prop me up and make sure I'm seen for all I can do and do offer, because they know firsthand all I contribute. They know they know I'm not always at good I'm not always as good at making sure I'm seen and utilized for fear of threatening egos or fear of affecting the ease of the process. They don't give a shit about that. And because of that, everyone listens to them with immense respect and enthusiasm. So I guess I have to stop worrying what people think about me. If you ever get around to watching Game of Thrones, you'll appreciate that I'm Khaleesi. And like her, I happen to have a few dragons, for better or for worse, but usually for better. Because my dragons also protect those that I fight for. So, really, we all benefit from those gorgeous monsters of mine. You will too, I can promise you. This is one of the most manipulative text messages when you really read it, because she's just like, oh my God, we're going to kill it. You're amazing. Like, she opens the text message, flooding him with compliments and how they're going to kill the scene. And then she's like, but, I was kind of disappointed, and I was, it was unfortunate that like you read my notes and you praised my passion rather than praising my actual contributions or the changes that I made to your fucking script, right? It's Baldoni's script. And she was, and I think he was nice to say, like, oh my God, I love your passion and dedication to the work. But he didn't say, oh my God, I loved your rewrites. And so because he didn't say, I loved your specific rewrites, she didn't like that. And that's when she writes him these paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs of messages that she sends him. And then he responds with this now leaked audio that was published by the Daily Mail.
Hey, Blake, it is 2 a.m. Hopefully this does not wake you up. Whew. Wow, there's so much I want to say to you, and I hope that we can FaceTime or see each other in person soon and get to talk more. But I'm just gonna send you a few thoughts, and hopefully it's not gonna be more than a few minutes. But that I don't have the best track record. I don't think either one of us have the best track record for our voice memos. I want to start with an apology. Man, reading the second part of your message, my heart sank, and I'm really sorry. I for sure fell short, and you worked really hard on that, and the way you framed it, and how that made you feel. I just want to say thank you for sharing that with me. That takes a lot of trust and vulnerability, and I feel really grateful that you feel safe enough to tell me that that's how you feel and share that with me. And I'm really sorry. I f***ed up. That is a fail on my part. One thing you should know about me is I will admit and apologize when I fail. I am far from perfect. I'm a very flawed man, as my wife will attest. And and I'm gonna f*** up. I'm gonna say the wrong thing. I'm gonna put my foot in my mouth. I'm gonna piss you off probably, but I will always apologize and find my way back to center. That is one thing I can assure you of. And I'm sorry I made you feel that way. That must have felt terrible. And I will for sure do better. That was not my best weekend, and I should have given it more time. And damn right, you got great friends if that's how you felt and they knew that. And we should all have friends like that, aside from the fact that they're two of the most creative people on the planet. The three of you guys together is unbelievable. Talk about energy and just a force, all three of you. But I just wanted you to know that I didn't need that, because it's really good, and it's gonna make the movie sing like you said, and I'm excited to go through the whole movie with you. You know, I think, and you and I have been trying to build a relationship, which I think we've done successfully. I mean, here we are talking like this, me into my phone at 2 a.m, but largely via text and voice note. And that, I will be honest with you, that is not my biggest strength. I love being with people and being in somebody's space and being face to face, and I feel like that's where I excel, and definitely fallen short at times in our text and voice note exchanges, because there's so much to communicate and there's so much happening, and all that to say, I'm just really looking forward to spending time together, and I think that's going to really go a long way for our chemistry, which I believe is there and has been there from the start. So I was so damn excited when you wanted to do this film. I felt it in the room when we met, and yeah, I think it does come from the both of us being so fucking hardworking and having a vision and not settling. And I'm excited to have a creative partner in that with you. And it's just really exciting. There's so much more to say. There's so much I want to say. I'm so sorry you have been through what you've been through with these other filmmakers and producers or whoever the people were that you worked with.
Okay, so the voice note is a little longer than that. That's only like 4-ish minutes, and the voice note itself is closer to like 6-ish minutes. Now, he did send this around 2 a.m., and people are like, that's inappropriate that he's sending her this message that late at night. But if you look at the text message that she sent him. She sent her text message at 1:49 a.m. So this is in response to that. So it looks like he took a little time to, I mean, first of all, it's a long fucking text message that she sent. He needed to kind of like read it and digest it. And also in reading it right now, you can see that like it was very manipulative. She keeps referencing and bringing up Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift. She keeps like referencing them. She calls them her dragons. She says that, even they were kind of surprised that you didn't have feedback for me, or what were her exact words? Um, she opens the text message by really praising him and looking forward to him. She's like, I have no motives except for you to win. Like, I want you to win. But like, if you're going to win, the only way for you to win, or the best way for you to win, is for you to listen to me. Right. And then she refers to Blake and Ryan, or sorry, she refers to Taylor and Ryan as her dance moms, her stage moms, because they're rooting for her. They asked what you thought specifically after. They checked in so many times. I told them that you laughed a bunch and said that it's probably a blend, but you appreciate my passion so much, which of course didn't feel great for me or for them. She makes it clear that, or, Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift, it didn't feel great for them that you complimented my passion. She says, to have my passion praised instead of any specific contribution, or even just didn't like the pages, which was fine also. So I think they, as in Taylor and Ryan, so I think they wanted you and me to see how they felt about the work, because they've been by my side for far too many experiences where I'm overlooked. And then she gets into the sad story about how she's been on the sets before, and they don't appreciate her enough, or they don't utilize her feedback because she's so smart and she's so pretty. And like, listening to his voice note, yes, it was late at night. It was in response to her. So it's clear that they, have these late night correspondence, which just isn't abnormal in Hollywood. People work all sorts of crazy hours. They, typically don't work a traditional 9 to 5 and don't have those boundaries that are set. That's just kind of the reality of working in this industry. Because even when you're shooting, sometimes you're shooting overnight or you're shooting very late at night, depending on what the scene calls for. Even if it's a daytime scene, they fake it with lighting. So, do I think that his text message is creepy? Because some people are like, oh, he sounds like he's like, he sounds so predatory. I don't get any predatory vibes. I get somebody that is placating her. I get somebody that feels like they have to walk on eggshells to constantly stroke her ego. I get somebody, he's basically at some points, I feel like talking to her, almost pandering, where he's like speaking to her like she's a child, right? Like, no, you did so well, honey. Like your project was so good. It's like when, you have a student that's maybe not the best student and they submit a subpar science project, and then the science project doesn't get an A. So then you send in your celebrity dad to come in and set the teacher straight. And when, dad comes in and sets the teacher straight, then, the teacher's like, oh my God, you're right. You are so smart. You are so pretty. Even though I originally thought that this project deserved a D, I'm going to give you an A because you know what? Your dad convinced me. And I feel like that's what Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds are being used as when she refers to them as Khaleesi's dragons. Nothing about his text message felt predatory at all, and none of it felt like harassment. Like, this is somebody, he's like, oh my God, I hurt your feelings, I'm so sorry. It sounds like somebody that's very self-aware. It sounds like somebody that is trying to placate her, that's trying to make her happy, that's trying to appease her, and that's absolutely trying to make sure that he doesn't ruffle any feathers, especially when she's sitting there with Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift in her court, which I don't even think Taylor Swift knew that she was being used in this way. So you can just tell he's somebody that does align, even though I've kind of like said he probably is like a fake woke feminist. I mean, he definitely is a woke feminist for sure. Whether or not he's fake, I feel like this may actually be who he is, which also makes me question Nick Viall a little bit more, because Nick Viall seems to pride himself on somebody that's a bit of a not a relationship expert, but somebody that knows relationships very well. I guess you could say expert, because Nick Viall even wrote a book about relationships, which I have read. And I don't have anything personally against Nick Viall, but I do think that his commentary is very not a fully informed opinion, right? It's not fully baked. The cookie dough is still a little raw and sitting on the counter, and the longer it sits raw on the counter without being fully baked, I feel like it's starting to go rotten. So yeah, it's funny because ever since I was bringing up Nick Viall and his sponsor being Mint Mobile, people have reached out and like, oh my God, because so there are two different types of ads that run on podcasts. There are the programmatic, which are automatic ads, and then there are the host read ads. So when you see me reading an ad, which I'm about to do for Rocket Money right now, when you see me reading an ad, those are host read ads. However, when you see when they're auto played like on Apple, those are typically ads that the agency and the brand targets a specific audience. And so with that audience targeted, we then approve certain categories, and we don't know every single programmatic ad that runs, but we at least are aware of we have certain blocks for certain brands or certain categories. And so it's funny because people have said that there have been, I guess, a couple of Mint Mobile ads that have run on the podcast recently. And I'm like, well, then there you go. I'm not being paid by Ryan Reynolds, or I'm not being paid by Justin Baldoni. I'm still being paid by Ryan Reynolds. So, yeah. Well, Janelle, that's where it's at. So, curious what your thoughts are and whether or not you think that the voice note, not voicemail, but voice note that he sent to her via text in response to her paragraphs of text messages, if you think that that was him just placating her, if you think that that was him, showing examples of the alleged harassment. The only way I think that this does hurt him is it makes it seem like maybe it wasn't that bad on the set as he claims that it was, because it seems like they have a very cordial relationship. But I feel like the message can be interpreted two ways. Either it shows that they have a great relationship and she wasn't being difficult to work with, or you can see it through the lens of like he's very much trying to appease her and stroke her ego and placate her so that she doesn't get upset, right? Because if she gets upset, he doesn't want her to have any sort of retaliation. But yeah. Well, we are approaching the end of January, but it is still New Year, right? And we have, the Lunar New Year that's coming up. So if you want to make sure you're restarting your goals, the start of a new year, it's a perfect time for you to get organized, set those goals, prioritize what matters most. For me, a top priority is my financial wellness, which feels more important than ever, especially in this economy, especially right now. Thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable. They show me all of my subscriptions right in one place, help me to easily cancel ones that I forgot that I've been paying for. Rocket Money also pulls together all of my spending across all my different accounts so that I can clearly track my spending habits and see where I can cut. You can sign up for something, forget all about it. The trial period ends, and then, next thing you know, month after month, you're being charged and you're not even aware of it. The subscriptions are there, but you're not even using them. And in fact, I just learned that 85% of people have at least one paid subscription going unused each month. Thanks to Rocket Money, I can see all my subscriptions all in one place and cancel the ones that I'm not using anymore. And now I'm saving more money. And they keep track of your spending. This morning, I got an email saying, "Oop, large transaction on your account." And I looked and I was like, "Oh, yep, that was somebody that I had to pay. That was an invoice that I had to pay off. Thank you for reminding me, Rocket Money, that was a very steep one." But I like that they were like, this bill or this expense is out of your normal spending range. We're flagging it to let you know that this was there. And so they keep track of everything. They break it down into categories. And I love that they do keep tabs on subscriptions that you're no longer using, because we've all been caught up in that cycle, right? Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so that you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has helped over 5 million users and has saved a total of 500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 per year when using all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/nofilter today. That's Rocket, ROCKET, rocketmoney.com/nofilter. rocketmoney.com/nofilter. Oh, someone in Ryan Reynolds' comments commented, "You both are a care package." Oh, from HE Double Hockey Sticks. Well, that's not very nice. Justin sounds like someone who was successfully intimidated into letting Blake take over his movie. He also wanted to keep the peace so that the movie could succeed. You definitely see that, right? What do you think about the theory that Ryan Reynolds is behind all of this? I mean, I definitely think that that's a plausible theory for sure. You know, when I was talking to Heather McDonald on Juicy Scoop, we taped that yesterday, and her theory was that Blake Lively's team is probably leaking this information about Ryan Reynolds being behind everything because I feel like he or her team wants to protect her image and her reputation. And so is there a potential divorce on the horizon? I don't know. It's possible, you know, absolutely within the realm of possibility that I mean, I would imagine that their relationship is not thriving right now. I'm sure that they're kind of struggling a bit, that they're not in the best place because I feel like I don't know how they can be because this is completely blowing up in their faces and their reputations are not looking good. So, in reference to Meghan Markle's alleged book deal where she was looking to sign, you know, a sign on the dotted line for an alleged divorce book, I think that Blake Lively's team is probably looking out for her as well and trying to say, well, this is all being spearheaded by Ryan Reynolds. Again, I don't know this for a fact. This is more speculation, but ooh, Juicy Scoop interview, was it before the voice note release? Yes, we had taped it, and then a couple of hours later is when the Daily Mail published the voice note. So we don't discuss that, and the episode was not taped with that information. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But as of right now, a trial date has been set for March 2026. Michelle Maroney recently posted a picture of them in support of the couple. What a fucking loser, right? Like, he came out and he was like, because he worked with Blake Lively on the set of A Simple Favor 2, the sequel to the movie that she did with Anna Kendrick, which is not getting a theatrical release. It's getting a direct to Amazon Prime release. So, ooh. But so he worked on the film with her and he came out and he's like, "Oh, you can just tell that she was so, you know, she was what was the word that he used? That she was visibly affected by whatever went down with Baldoni on the set of It Ends With Us." And I'm like, "What a loser." Like, seriously, what a loser. All these people are, you know, definitely not looking the greatest. Rep for Ryan needs to make a statement, don't you think, Zack? I don't think that they will make a statement because at this point, like, they've lost control of the narrative. And so unless they look like they're on the defense, the most that we've gotten from Blake's PR team is that, like, oh, this is standard, it's victim blaming, it's victim shaming, all of that. So we'll see how this plays out. But let's shift gears and let's touch on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and then we're going to touch on Selena Gomez, which is going to be a little controversial because I know some people may have some strong feelings about Selena Gomez because she's currently under fire. But just giving you a heads up, we're going to dive into the Selena Gomez of it all. So either be ready, get your pitchforks ready. I'm going to analyze it from all sides, and we'll get into it in just a sec. But let's start with the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills trailer because the mid-season trailer just dropped, and it's kind of mid. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of drama or good, you know, good stuff to good stuff to cover. Well, Lavanya says Real Houses of Beverly Hills trailer looks fire. So happy the boring episodes are behind it. Are the boring episodes behind it? Sutton definitely seems to be at the center of a lot of the drama. Thank you, Chris P. Bacon, for your super sticker, your super chat, just because you are you. Thank you. I love being me. I love me. The gag order says it all. Yeah, wanting somebody to shut up with a gag order or sending them like a cease and desist, those are very clear signs that maybe somebody either wants to prevent information getting out or, you know, it's just being a little not deceptive, but you know, they're just maybe not telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So we have the Beverly Hills trailer. We see all the fashion, the glam. We're seeing all their fun outfits. We're seeing bits from their trip to St. Lucia. We see, is this Kyle's white part? Well, no, they're all wearing white and it looks like they're in St. Lucia. So it seems like St. Lucia is going to be a big chunk of the next, I'm assuming maybe 2 or 3 episodes. We see Sutton's fashion show, which is where Kathy Hilton walked on the stage, which was really funny. We saw that on social media and now we're seeing that it was filmed for the show. We see it looks like Bose takes them on the cast trip to St. Lucia. They're dressed. They seem to be having a good time in St. Lucia. This seems to be like an old school housewives trip. We see Dorit. She looks a little Liddy City. She talks about her divorce from PK. They talk about community property in Los Angeles, or in California, rather, and how PK is likely trying to divorce Dorit before the 10 years are up. That way he doesn't have to share community property with her. Interesting. So it looks like we're going to get more into Dorit's messy divorce, or just kind of her spiraling as a result of the divorce. But I mean, yeah, community property, 10 years, they're not there yet. Bo's like, oh, hell no. And then we have Mauricio and Kyle, and Mauricio's like, I would never want to hurt you, because obviously he's out there dating and he's fooling around with all these other, he's swingling and his dingling all around town. Sutton we see her and her mom. There's this awkward scene between Garcelle and Sutton's mom, and she's just like, Sutton just wants you to say, I love you. And then her mom's like, you should mind your business. And then Sutton seems to call Dorit a bitch, and there seems to be some beef between Dorit and Sutton. And Dorit's like, don't call me a bitch in my own house. And then Sutton flexes her money, and she's like, I have more money than you do. And then Erica calls out Sutton for being a fake friend. She tries to act like a fake friend, but she's not really a fake friend. And then we see them fighting on the boat in St. Lucia. So I guess, I mean, Dorit's divorce sounds interesting, and then them kind of holding Sutton accountable also sounds interesting, but that's probably not going to come until the end of the season, which is where, for me, I'm kind of like, well, Janelle, I don't know. It doesn't look the most exciting. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not like a super like, oh my God, this looks like an amazing season. I feel like the season overall has been a little bit of a sleeper. Oh my God, amazing. I did a reel on, it's so annoying. So I did a reel on, it's kind of a funny reel on gender, that I knew was probably going to stir up a little beef, and people were going to get, it was supposed to be a funny video. And like, I was kind of like poking fun at, like, because people were talking about, the new administration now only acknowledging male and female as the only two genders. And I was like, well, how many genders are there? And so I went and I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize there were like 70 plus genders. And so I was kind of like breaking down the different genders and the different gender identities that people have. And I made a video on it, and I'm part of Instagram's creators program. So I should be able to monetize off of the videos. And I guess maybe somebody had reported the video, and so Instagram was not going to allow me to monetize off of that video because it didn't follow their community guidelines. And I was like, nope, gonna appeal this. There's nothing wrong in that video. There's no misinformation. There's no hate speech. There's literally nothing. It's a humorous video, poking fun. I don't really take a political stance in it. So I appealed it, and I just got notified that the appeal that they have, they've granted my appeal. So, thank you, Mark Zuckerberg, for granting my appeal. That means that they reviewed it, and I am in the correct. There are a lot of times where some of my content will get flagged, and I will fight back, and I will say, no, I appeal this. I would like it to be reviewed. And every single time it gets reviewed, it always gets reinstated. So thank you. You have to fight censorship, especially because people will report your content because they want to hurt you, and the creator will always win in the end, as long as you know that your content is of quality. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the new season of Real Houses, or the rest of the season of Real Houses of Beverly Hills. I'm hoping that it gets a little better. It looks like we've resolved the issues with Kyle and Dorit, so we'll see what's left to come. But I like that we're finally holding Sutton accountable a little bit. We'll see. Let's talk about Selena Gomez. Okay, so this is where we're gonna get a little controversial. All right, just giving you a warning now, coming off of the gender talk. Selena Gomez is facing some heat. She's under fire right now, muy fuego, because she went on Instagram and started crying about her people that she claims are under attack. So let's play the clip, and then we'll discuss some of the backlash that she's been facing as a result of this. Okay, here we go.
I just wanted to say that I'm so sorry. All my people are getting attacked. The children. They don't understand.
And so with this video, she wrote the words, "I'm sorry," and then posted the Mexican flag. So people are assuming that this is in relation to immigration policies with the incoming administration, or I guess no longer in. Well, I guess the administration has now come in us, so it's here, right? So people are dragging Selena because I mean, even seeing this for myself, I'm like, okay, so she decided she was going to get her phone, prop it up, hit record, write a caption over it, and publish this. And I just think we're in an era now where people are so tired of celebrities going and sharing their opinion on, you know, cultural issues that they cannot relate to, right? Selena Gomez, billionaire, big, gorgeous mansion. She's literally sitting from her mansion, crying on Instagram, posting this. And to me, it's another sign of Hollywood virtue signaling, right? Let's cry about this. Let's complain. Like, let's literally film myself crying on the internet and post it to my millions of followers. And so I understand Selena Gomez is somebody that probably has a very big heart. I understand that she's somebody that has great empathy, and seems to be feeling impacted by our current administration immigration policies, right? And she is unhappy with that. And I also see how there are people that are coming at her and they're just like, well, where was her outrage and where was her empathy when, she didn't go on Instagram and cry about, Laken Riley, who was the young 22-year-old woman that was, unfortunately passed away, lost her life when she was jogging at the University of Georgia. And, that was the result of, well, I mean, now we have the Laken Riley Act, but that was the result of poor immigration policies, and there are a number of different issues that have come up in relation to immigration, specifically within the last 4 years and with this previous administration, the Biden-Harris administration specifically. And so I understand that people are coming out and they're just like, well, why is Selena Gomez speaking out now, especially when the priority of the immigration policies are to focus on people that are breaking the law or people that are criminals that came in unvetted. And so regardless of where you stand with this current administration, like immigration is something that we've always been really strict with here in the US. So I wanted to play this other clip to add context to the conversation surrounding immigration, which to me, kind of feels like revisionist history with some of the sensationalized headlines with our current administration when this has always been, strict immigration policies has always been a nonpartisan issue and has always been something that both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party have been in favor of. So it's just interesting to now see these sensationalized headlines that, I feel like are now being exacerbated and creating more of this fear mongering that I think happened after the 2016 election. That I think people weren't privy to, that once I became privy to it, now I'm just more hyper aware of it. But I wanted to play these two clips that have been resurfaced, one from 2008 and one from 2014.
If you're a criminal, you'll be deported. If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up. The actions I'm taking are not only lawful, they're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half century.
I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes. And you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait in line.
So those are two clips, one from President Obama in 2014 and another one from Hillary Clinton in 2008. So whether it was Clinton, whether it was Bush, whether it was Obama, with exception for the Biden administration, immigration has always been something that our country has not been too divided on, but has been pretty clear that like we want safe borders. We want, strong immigration policies. That it just feels interesting that people like Selena Gomez have forgotten that that's something that has always been a priority for our country, with exception for the last 4 years where the floodgates really did kind of open. And unfortunately, we opened up a can of worms. And now to course correct, unfortunately, there is going to have to be a bit more strong arming. And so, and you can also look at like Hillary Clinton's comments back in 2008, and you can say, well, that was the past, right? And similar to, where there are things that our country has done in the past that we no longer encourage or support, with time, with exposure, with, kind of doing more work and educating ourselves, obviously our positions on certain issues can change, right? And so that is a very fair argument to say, oh, well, times were different in 2008 versus 2025. That was at this point, what, 15, 16, 17 years ago? So you can make that argument that yes, times have changed, our viewpoint on immigration has evolved, but also at the same time, I feel like with that evolution, you can't look at this past administration and think that, oh yeah, that was a great thing that we kind of just opened up the floodgates, especially when you do have, what was it, the Venezuelan gangs that were taking over apartments, or even the controversial, which became a bit on TikTok, of they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, eating the dogs, eating the cats. Even when that became a viral moment, I think that there was a bigger conversation that we, unfortunately, people I don't think were ready to have, because people wanted to look at this as a partisan issue and wanted to make it more political than it actually is. But the reality is, when you look at that town, in Springfield, Ohio, or I believe it was a neighboring town in Ohio, when you do look at that, you realize, oh, wow, there were about 20,000 Haitians that were then, dropped into this community without the proper resources that they were going to need, right, to be able to succeed in our country, right? Of course, we want to take in, immigrants, and our country was built on, the backs of immigrants. And I think that's one thing that makes our country so incredible and so beautiful, is that it's not a white country, but it is a diverse country. However, you can't not acknowledge that we have an immigration issue that's now right in front of us, and I think that it's okay to take a step back and be like, okay, maybe we need to course correct a bit. And, but in regards to the Selena Gomez of it all, I just think people are so sick of celebrity culture, and they're so tired of celebrities trying to tell us, or talk about social issues that they just can't relate to, right? Selena Gomez cannot relate to the everyday American. Selena Gomez has security wherever she goes. Selena Gomez has money and the luxuries and the privileges of being able to live in a bubble and be able to have security that can escort her from place to place. She's never going to know the fear that somebody like Laken Riley felt. She's never going to be in an experience like that. And even if she is, God forbid, ever in an experience like that, her name alone would drive headlines enough for people to care enough to make changes. And so I think it's just rich when somebody wants to go on the internet and post a video of themselves crying about an issue that's not directly affecting them. And then for her to say, my people are being attacked. I guess I Mexican myself. I guess that would also be my people. I don't know if my people are necessarily, if I agree with the sentiment that our people are being attacked, but I think a lot of people have also brought up the fact that like Selena Gomez is an American citizen. She is American. Her people are the American people. And people have also pointed out that like, well, she's not the most in touch with her heritage. She doesn't, really lean into being Mexican as much as, she could have in the past, when there have been other issues that could have been raised with the Hispanic communities that, she kind of picks and chooses when she wants to lean into that. And so I just think people feel like it's tone deaf and it falls on deaf ears when a celebrity wants to cry about a social issue that they just, again, cannot relate to. They live in a bubble. They live in a reality that is not the everyday reality for most people living in our country right now. So I understand the heat. I think that she, 'cause some people have also said, oh, well, she's entitled to have her feelings. She's entitled to cry and be heard or have empathy. And I agree. She's entitled to have her feelings. She's entitled to have empathy. But also there is a level of arrogance and ego that comes into play when you then decide, I'm going to record myself from my mansion crying on a video and then post that publicly because I want to make a statement. And my statement is that I'm sad. I'm sad about something that's happening. But it's also like, well, what are you doing to contribute to that? Like, how are you solving the issue? How are you, and people can obviously arguably say, well, Zach, how are you solving the issue? You're talking about this, you're addressing it. Well, I feel like, reminding people of the immigration policies of the administration prior to Trump and, when he won the 2016 election, this was very much something that Obama was for as well. And I know a lot of people, were big supporters of Obama. I voted for Hillary Clinton back in 2016. I've been open and vocal about that. And so I think that reminding people so that we don't live in this revisionist history. I want to just bring that back to light. And also at the same time, this is part of my job, right? To talk about what's going on in the news as it relates to current events and pop culture. Selena Gomez is a celebrity. This is a pop culture moment. People are dragging her. It's a conversation that's happening online. So for me to comment or to add commentary as a podcaster for that world is one thing. But for someone like Selena Gomez to go unprovoked and just make this, not even make a statement, but to just kind of create this hyperbolized emotional video of herself crying about something that's happening. I think that that's unfortunately the double-edged sword of being a celebrity is that, if you comment on these things, there are going to be people from both sides that are going to have opinions about them. And so while I do have empathy for Selena Gomez, and I feel bad that she's getting ripped apart online right now, that was also a deliberate choice that she made to post a video of herself crying on the internet. She has since deleted the video, and then she posted something about like, well, I guess we're not allowed to have empathy anymore, or something to that effect. And I'm like, well, it's not that you're not allowed to have empathy. You can have empathy and then maybe have these conversations with your friends behind the scenes. Go talk to Taylor Swift about it, right? But to post a video of yourself crying on the internet with tears from your mansion, it falls on deaf ears. It's tone deaf. You are not in touch with the reality. You are crying about something that you really don't seem to fully understand. And so that's the part that I think is a miss for a lot of people. So I don't know. Allie says, keep your empathy like that to your close friends. Yeah, I agree. I agree. So to me, I think we could use a lot less of celebrities crying on the internet about things that make them sad. Because again, the things that make them sad are not necessarily relatable to people that, can't relate. Nelly says Selena is Mexican and has a right to feel whatever she wants. So it's only okay if you have something about every single thing. No, I'm just saying that's part of the reason why people feel that it is tone deaf. I'm Mexican too. You don't see me crying on Instagram about it to my millions and millions of followers, though I don't have millions and millions of followers in comparison to Selena Gomez. But it's like, again, what do you I see it from both sides, Mallory says it gives the Imagine video vibes when all the celebrities during pandemic in 2020. Yeah, remember when they were all singing Imagine, and it's like, what does this do? Like, why? Like, what, we just made a montage video of all these celebrities singing Imagine, and like, what do we hope that this accomplishes? It's just the level of narcissism in Hollywood, right? Or in LA. Listen, I'd fall victim to it as well. I wouldn't put myself on the internet. I wouldn't live my life so openly. If I didn't also acknowledge that I have an ego and there's a level of narcissism that I even have to put myself out there, right? Like, there is an arrogance that we all, when we put ourselves out there on the internet, have, similar to people that pursue a career in entertainment, be it music, film, TV, whatever. Change says, LOL, most Mexican Americans do not care about this issue. Well, when I have had conversations with a lot of people that are immigrants, that I understand their frustrations as well, where they're like, listen, I came here and I followed the procedures and I followed the system and I came here legally and I did these things, and they don't feel like it's fair that the immigration policies have been loosened to the degree that they have, because they weren't loose when other people came here, right? When they came for the American dream. And unfortunately, I believe you oversaturate or dilute the American dream when the resources that we have then become, more scarce because there are more people coming and, feeding off of that same system that unfortunately I think does take away from people. And I think to the point of, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats in Springfield, Ohio, there were veterans that were coming out and talking to local news stations saying that like their resources had been depleted because now you've inserted 20,000 more people into this local community that unfortunately you didn't give these people the resources to be able to succeed. So then they're also now having to be dependent on the resources that the same local community has to, be dependent on as well, or is reliant on as well. And so unfortunately, that's where it gets messy. And unfortunately, in order to clean up the mess, you have to get into the mess. And the mess is not clean. It's messy. And unfortunately, there are going to be parts of it that are not comfortable and parts of it that will likely make Selena Gomez cry. And whether or not she needs to be going on the internet and posting sad videos, maybe next week she can post a Instagram reel of herself singing Imagine. Imagine all the people living for today. They were eating the cats in Ohio. Well, no, remember that was a thing because there were reports of locals that were saying that their pets, their dogs and their cats had gone missing. And so they were making reports. I believe the local police department, local authorities said that the claims seemed to be unsubstantiated, but there were complaints that were being filed. That was something that was happening as people were complaining that their pets were going missing. And then they were blaming some of the Haitians that were coming into Ohio and saying that they thought that they were possibly, based off of their traditions from Haiti, that they believed that they may have been, eating their pets. And so that's when it became a viral trend on TikTok. When in the debate, Trump said, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. And then that was the trend. It was like, they're eating the dog, eating the cats, eating the dogs, eating the cats, eat the cats, eat the cats, eat the cats, eat the cats. Nobody in their right mind thinks that the Haitians were eating pets. Well, I mean, that is nuts. That's the part that was so crazy. But there were multiple reports, but also that's the other issue. Because if we want to talk about that just for a brief second, that's the issue when you bring, people that are from another country and you don't set them up for success, when you just drop them off into a local town in Ohio and there's a language barrier because they speak, what is it, French? They speak French, and then the people, the people in Ohio don't, there's that language barrier, right? And then there's this discord. And then I think that in and of itself could create, a new layer of racism where you're bringing somebody from another country and you're putting them in a predominantly white neighborhood. And then there's a language barrier. And then there's this scarcity that mentality that's coming into place because the resources locally are being depleted. So then you do have this discourse, and so it's not, when you have people that aren't exposed to the Haitian culture, and then you have people from Haiti that are coming in and they don't know how to, properly communicate because there's a language barrier, then that does create this discourse, and then you find out there are issues with people reporting that people are eating dogs and eating cats. And it sounds crazy, but then that just becomes the reality and the issue that we essentially then created by doing that, Creole, yes. The average reading level of Americans is 6th grade. 6th grade? I thought it was 4th grade. I think that explains a lot of the ignorance in conversations. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think it's 4th grade. I remember in school learning that like a lot of like the LA Times was written at a 4th grade level to meet the reading degree. Zach, reading my comment. What was your comment? There's so many comments coming in. I think your comment got lost. Oh, here it is. There was one woman in Springfield area that was arrested for eating a neighbor's cat, and people assumed that she was Haitian because she was Black, but she was born and raised in Ohio. Well, why is this lady eating the cat? That's not, listen, when, when a man tells you he wants to eat your kitty, he doesn't mean your actual cat. So don't follow suit. I saw a video of a food truck guy catching a pigeon when he caught it and took it back to the food truck. Yeah. I mean, listen, we can't even get eggs anywhere. I know. There is a ration on eggs, right? I was at the market the other day. I was like, wait a minute. Is there a ration on eggs? And it says you're limited to only 3 because there's some sort of outbreak or something. Geese is a traditional Christmas dish in Germany. Oh, I didn't know that. Lizette said Obama deported most of the illegal immigrants. People don't talk about that. Well, yeah, or like very similar to the last time Trump was in office. You know, people there were all these headlines about the cages and children being in cages, only to realize that was a policy put in place by the Obama administration. And then some of the photos that were being used were not of when Trump was in office, but those were older photos that were then being recirculated. Wild geese would be so gamey. Yeah, I don't know if I'm down for some wild geese. Cook your eggs all the way through, people. No runny yolks for you. I mean, yeah. Marianne Stout says, Zach, be careful. This is not members only. Listen, you know I can't help myself. I say things. I don't always, try to be PC for everybody. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. I feel like I've tried to present both sides and look at it from both angles. But if you hate me, then I can't help you. We do have eggs here, Mallory. I get them from my produce box. Oh, yeah. Well, that's rare. Thank you, Lisa. Lisa says you're great. Kitschy Yo-Yo says geese is too greasy. Ooh, not the greasy geese. Greasy geese, greasy geese, greasy geese, greasy geese. Care Bear says roadkill barbecue. Holla! $1 makes me holla. Give me some of that roadkill barbecue. Oh, food is expensive. I've stopped growing cherry tomato. I've started growing cherry tomatoes. You're like, food is expensive. Let me counteract what I'm spending on groceries by growing some tomatoes in the backyard. Were tomatoes that expensive? Isn't the maintenance of running a tomato tree, a tomato bush? I don't know about the bush. Speaking of bush, so like when you don't get a whole ton of action, you're not always, you kind of let your body do its thing. Well, I went in for a massage a week ago, and I didn't realize that, like, the bushes need, the gardener hadn't been over in a while, right? If you catch my drift, the carpet matches the drapes, but I got a haircut up top and I forgot to get a haircut downstairs. And so I went in and I was like, it wasn't like wild. It wasn't like a 70s, porno flick, but, I went and I was like, oh, so then when I went in for another massage yesterday, and I made sure to like clean everything up so that, I looked fresh as a daisy for my second massage because I got them a week apart. And more than complimenting my bush, he complimented my shoulders. He was like, wow, your shoulders are like I can tell you've been working out. Like the definition is there. I was like, thank you. Thank you for noticing my shoulders, but ignoring my bush. All right, best segue ever. Thanks. And on that note, all right, guys, thank you for tuning in to No Filter with Zach Peter. You can always keep up with me at Just Plain Zach all over the internet at Just Plain Zach, or follow the podcast at No Filter with Zach if you want to keep up with all the latest podcast happenings. Dun, 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 dun. Let's get it. Yeah. So go show me some love, show the podcast some love, leave an Apple Podcast review if you're enjoying the show, comment below on comment below on YouTube, comment below on Spotify. I love reading your comments. Occasionally I'll dip in and respond to some of them. But yeah, have a great day, guys. New episode of the Pop Report drops tomorrow on Wednesday. New episodes of No Filter stream live on YouTube weekday mornings, Monday through Friday, and then they're available on all podcast platforms. So be sure to listen, subscribe, rate, do all the things. I love you. I appreciate you. Have a happy Tuesday. Maybe we'll talk about the New York, the Ronu reunion. I know it airs tonight. I don't know. We'll see if we're even interested in that. But yeah, let's get it. Oh, hit the like button. Yes, guys, hit the like button on your way out. Just a little pop. I enjoyed that episode. Just a little pop, a little boop, a little scoobity doop de doop. All right. Goodbye for now to you, my friends. Be sure to check out Juicy Scoop and support Julie Grant, Court TV. All right.